your daughter's name?
Is Adelise Maslenka.
Adelise. Okay.
Yeah. So through a mutual friend, I found out that the baby was taken. So immediately, I think she told me on a Friday. So right there on Monday, I called out of work. I went straight to the DCF office. I told them that Adelise was potentially my daughter and that I wanted to take a DNA test and I wanted to start seeing her. I met with Ann Kochis. She was the supervisor of the case at the time. She was very nice at first. You know, she told me that I'd have to take the DNA test, obviously. And I told her, I said, you know, I want to take custody of the child. So she told me I needed to have a 2-bedroom apartment. I'd have to have everything set up. So I was like, no problem. You know, within 2 weeks, I had a 2-bedroom apartment rented. I had it fully furnished. I had crib, clothes, everything that baby would need for like 6 months. I started to see some really weird things happening. When the first meeting that we had, there was a caseworker, Danielle Grew. She actually came to look at the apartment, and immediately she was like, "Oh, well, it looks like you don't even live here." And I'm like, "Well, I just moved in. Like, I got the apartment for the baby." Then she proceeded to tell me how she knows all about me, how I'm a drug dealer and I'm a woman beater. I broke Allison's arm, is what DCF told me. And I'm just sitting there going, woman, like, are you crazy? Like, look at the police report. There was no injury. There was no nothing. So right off the bat, I knew that DCF was doing something fishy.
My dad's very headstrong. He is like very much a provider. Just has like a very strong personality, but with me and my dad, he's always there no matter what his personal opinion is on what I'm doing. He's always supportive no matter what. He's always there. He can come off as like a little bit like a lot, but he's just a very, very passionate person. And he's a person who's also been through a lot. So he has every right to be the way he is.
6 months after we started this, I actually got the DNA test back, and she was mine. So right when I got the DNA test back, I was like, okay, now it's time to give her to me. Like, you know, she must come home now. DCF still refused. They said that I needed to go to trial. Well, trial? What am I going to trial for? Like I was some offending person, like I had done something. But literally what we've come to find out is they were literally just trying to block me, trying to keep me away from my child. They used the police 3 times to try to set me up. So once at a visit at the DCF office, a social worker that got assigned to the case, her name was Michelle Emery.
Hold on, we gotta get somebody on the computer. Okay. So we have the bonding specialist joining us today.
Why is that?
Because she's assigned by the court to assess you and Allison and Addie.
This wasn't cleared with my lawyer, I believe.
Okay. It was
Like this is a visit for us. Like you guys have not given us any visits. You have deprived me of my visits. You've used lies to stop my visits, and you need to stop.
I need you to stop now.
You're
not doing this in front of Addie.
You're stopping our visits.
Okay.
This is completely.
We're not going to do this in front of Addie.
Well, what are we doing? We're having a very light conversation.
Okay.
We can have my visit.
If I have to ask you again, I'm going to go in the back.
What are you going to do?
We're not going to argue about this in front of Addie. Okay?
We're not arguing.
All right.
You are arguing.
Okay.
I'm talking very nicely.
Okay, I'm asking you to stop. Thank you.
You're asking me to stop talking?
Yes, ma'am.
Dude, you were late to my visit. You're late every time. And I've got this all on video because I can't trust you. You know that she perjured herself on the stand?
I don't know what's going on.
You're an officer of the law. You're being notified of crimes. It is your responsibility to report these crimes to higher authority.
Like I said,
I have a full packet that
deep
shows
breath,
lies
deep breath,
against them.
Deep breath. Listen
What do
to
you
me
mean
for
take a
1
deep
second.
breath?
I don't
very
know what's
calm.
going on. I'm just here to keep the peace. That's my role.
You're very calm.
The next day after that visit, I get a call from a lawyer saying that I went crazy, that I was violent to the staff, I was violent to the police officer that was on duty, that I caused the whole place to go into chaos.
Hi, my name is Attorney Christopher Burns. I'm in my 24th year of active practice, mainly family law, but I've done a variety of other things, bankruptcy, criminal, federal, state cases. He is charged criminally. The underlying charge is trying to intimidate certain caseworkers that were on his case here in New Hampshire. The evidence that he showed me was a little weak. Some of it, after I dug into it, some of it appeared to be completely fabricated. Pictures were altered. Certain things were cropped out of the pictures they sent me. They didn't send me the originals. The originals are what I would consider to be exculpatory for him. It's just that sort of seemed to be a repeating pattern in what he showed me of evidence from the case that's pending in Massachusetts.
Chris is a very soft, very trusting, very giving person. He doesn't like it. He expects people to be genuine. He wants people to treat him the way he treats them. He wants to be able to believe that everybody is good. He knows that they're not, but in his heart he feels that everybody is good. And he can trust them because they are not going to do anything to him.
So, it's fully apparent. My first visit, they scheduled without even contacting me and without me confirming that I could even do the visit. And then now the second visit, as you can see, this is a reoccurring meeting for Adelise. Waiting for the host to start the meeting. 4:20. 5 minutes late. It's just so apparent that these people have no care for my visits. They have no care for my family. They're trying to adopt her when my mother is willing to take her. Isn't it their job's requirement to place kids with their family? Isn't that like the law? I have a Curious George book. Do you want me to read that to you? Okay. Here, let me turn this. Curious George feeds the animals. This is George. George was a good little monkey and is always very curious. One day, George went to the zoo with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. A new rainforest exhibit was opening, and they wanted to be the first ones inside.
So her and the police officer that was on duty there, they conspired to make up this situation, this story that I went crazy and I was violent and I disrupted the whole place. And they actually testified under oath at an emergency meeting to try to terminate my visitations.
Was that in court?
Yep, that was in the family court. The judge denied them, but they would not look at the videotape. They would not address the perjury. They would not address the fact that the DCF and a police officer are conspiring to try to harm a parent that hasn't even done anything wrong.
The Child Protective Services, that was the initial case where he was not an accused parent. And most people, some attorneys don't even know this. When you're not an accused parent, you don't automatically get your kids back. DCYF or Child Protective Services, whatever state you're in, will throw up barriers, make you jump through hoops, because if the other parent is accused, you're a party to their docket number, and they force you to do things through that other docket number, which is what tripped him up. They wanted him to do certain things. At the end of the case, they determined that he hadn't done them and didn't return his child. Essentially terminated his rights, even though he started as a non-accused parent.
When the trial first started, at the first date, I actually served them with notice of crimes committed against me and my child. The state has taken it to the next level by having me arrested. What they're trying to do is they're trying to scare me into just leaving them alone, and it's not going to happen. This whole situation is unbelievable. These people need to be investigated. These people need to be fired. These people need to be put in prison for what they've done. I can actually give you my affidavits that I wrote and I served to them. What I have accused them of is deprivation of rights under the color of law. When the government uses their position to violate your rights, that is deprivation of rights. Now, when you look at the definition and the actual write-out, the U.S. Code for deprivation of rights under the color of law, when in conjunction of a kidnapping, penalty is it's the death penalty. And just for me writing the law, they said that I am threatening them. No, I didn't threaten anybody. The written law is the written law. Just for me saying the written law, I did not do it. You are the ones that have committed these acts. I didn't threaten anybody. I just stated the law. I had another altercation. It wasn't involved with DCF, but there was a really weird situation that went on. There was a drunk woman that had broken into my house. She was obliterated. Me and my older daughter, my daughter was sleeping. She had to go to school in the morning. I was sleeping. I had to go to work in the morning. This drunk woman breaks into my house and wakes everybody up, causes a disturbance. Police come, and they try to make me leave. They want me to leave my house and leave my child at the house with a drunk woman that had just broken in. They actually ended up arresting me for assaulting a police officer. I brought that to trial. I won that trial because the officer actually admitted that I never did anything and that he actually assaulted me.
Hi, Addie.
Say hi.
Oh, no.
Have to, baby.
Oh, no. What is wrong, honey? You want to see something that'll make you smile? What is this? What's this? Oh, don't cry. Did you hurt? You said, ow, did you hurt yourself?
It's okay.
Addie.
Hope, is she sick or did she hurt herself? She's not sick.
She's saying ow. She's saying
She-
ow.
No, she's not saying ow. What is she saying?
She's saying ow.
No,
Yeah.
that's not what she's
It
saying.
was clear as day. I have it on recording if you want to hear it again.
I'm sitting right here, but I'm not going to argue with you, Chris.
Okay.
We're going to end the video now if we're being recorded.
I love you, Addie. I want to know what happened to my daughter and why she's saying ow, ow, ow. Is she in harm some way? Is this lady covering up? This is really interesting.
The juvenile court case, has that trial been completed?
They completed a trial without me even there. The main point of this all is they're trying to say that it was my trial and that it's my case somehow. But how did they complete a trial when I was not even there? And yes, they completed it. They terminated my parental rights and they adopted my daughter out. Massachusetts General Law 119, Section 1 clearly states that when a child is taken, they must take all avenues to put the child with family first. It does not say that you go and you attack the family and you create your own case against them in order to keep that child into the system so that you can keep collecting money for her. It doesn't state that anywhere in the law. It says you give that child to family. Now, these workers have all conspired to make up false reports about me, to make up false accusations. Actually, there's not even any accusation against me against the child. There's accusations against me against them. They've turned the situation into a me versus the system when this shouldn't even have been any situation. They should have immediately given me my child when I got that DNA test, and that should have been it. And my life has been turned upside down. I have lost a child. There's not even words that can explain like what I have gone through and the heartache and just the torture that I've gone through because of these people.
The court system doesn't make it easy, especially when it's mostly all personal vendettas. And I can see that from being in the courtroom. I'm usually the only person who is in the courtroom because of where it is. Everybody else is out of state, so I'm the only one who's there. And the way that the people in the courtroom act, especially like before Dad comes in, is like insane. Like, I don't know how any of them have jobs because they're just so unprofessional. Like, they laugh and joke about it like it's funny, and it's not. Like, it's destroyed my life. The district attorney was in there with 2 other bailiffs and was like making a bunch of jokes about my dad and like just basically like laughing him and mocking him. But right before he came into the courtroom, like behind his back.
I spoke with the DCF, well, it was the lawyer that DCF gave to Chris, I believe, one of them. And they said, you do not need to go to DCF because she is your granddaughter. You just need to, when it goes to court, you need to let them know that you are her grandmother and you want to take her. And she said, that's all I have to do because you're not filing to foster her. You are her grandmother and you can just, and it's okay. They asked me if I wanted to foster her, and I said I was told that I didn't have to file papers to foster her, but I can. And they sent me a bunch of papers. I filled them all out, and I took them back into them. I emailed them to them. They said they never received them after a while, and so I gave them to her again, and she said, well, these are the wrong papers. And I said, okay. So they gave me more papers, and I filled them out and handed them to them. And I don't think they were ever, I don't know if they're in a file somewhere or what.
My mother and my sister both went to DCF, and they said that they would take her. Because they lived in New Hampshire, they just wouldn't do it. Their excuse for my mother was that she filled out the wrong paperwork. That is their job to expedite that process. And they refused. Now, to go even farther with that, my sister is a foster parent in New Hampshire. My nephew, he was adopted at 3 years old. So we actually have a foster child in our family, and they still refused. What they're trying to do is they're trying to silence me. They're trying to shut me up. They're trying to make me go away. They're trying to do right now with the criminal charges. They think that they're going to put me in prison for 4 years. 4 years for accusing them of committing crimes.
Rescue the Fosters was founded for parents like Chris Stevens. Parents that were fighting DCF had no place to go. And we want to give parents a place to go for support and for guidance. Rescue the Fosters advocates for families to remain together. We help families with their cases as they're going through the DCF process. As a caseworker, I know the process and I know what it takes to complete a case plan. So that's where I help with families going through the process of DCF. Chris Stevens contacted Rescue the Fosters in 2023. Before taking his case on, Rescue the Fosters reviewed the paperwork. We went through all of the discovery that he sent us, and we found that there was no allegations of abuse, child neglect, nothing that would take him from his child. It was all allegations that the caseworker had put on him criminally for quoting the law and for stating that it was his child that he was not giving up. In September of 2024, I arrived in New Hampshire to document Chris's case. A few days before I arrived, Chris was swatted. A 911 call was made saying that he had a gun to his girlfriend's head and that it was in progress. And he was swarmed with cops. They came in, they checked the house. They found out that it was a lie. There was no one in the house. His girlfriend was not there. So they left. Chris was not arrested. He did not commit a crime. And then I arrived on September the 16th of 2024. September the 17th, 2024, Chris and I go to the Brentwood Police Department to get a copy of the body camera, the 911 call, and Chris filed a complaint because the 911 call that was made on September the 14th was not screened. And they could have easily just called his house, found out that this was a made up caller. They did not do any of that. As we're leaving the police department, I look at Chris and I say, now you're going to have to watch your back because we just made a complaint on a police department. And on September the 19th, while we were recording, we received another call from Brentwood Police Department asking if we were at the house, if we were available for them to bring us the 911 recording. And so we're sitting there. We're like, okay, this is different. Police don't usually bring in evidence. They usually have you go to the police department. So as we're sitting there, the police arrive and his house is raided. It was police officer, it was a ranger. There were so many people out there. They arrested him. They actually said it was from a case in 1999. So the police took Chris into the police department. He was out. He was bonded out before they even finished the raid on his house. The bondsman was like, this is crazy. Like, what's going on? He's bonded out. He comes back. And I just felt that they were not going to leave him alone because I had seen so many parents that told me that once they made a complaint and they didn't go along with the caseworker, that they were harassed, they were stalked. And that's what it felt. It felt like we were being harassed and we were being stalked. September the 20th, 2024, he is arrested again on the way home. And they are saying that it's from Massachusetts that actually had him arrested from his case that he is waiting to go to trial in Greenfield, Massachusetts. So Chris has been in jail since September the 20th, 2024.
Put your hands above your head. With one of your hands, grab the hood of your sweatshirt and lift it up. Lift it up so we can see your waistband.
What is...
Do not move your hands like that. Put them above your head and grab the sweatshirt from the back. Now spin around. Spin back around. Now walk backwards. Keep your hands above your head. Keep walking. walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Step to your right. Keep walking back. Keep walking back.
Chris's story is one that should concern every American. Our very fundamental rights are at stake. We assume that laws that are passed are constitutional. However, we have to be vigilant and know that every single law has to be put to the test to see if it is constitutional. And here is an example of a law that is being abused to target and silence a voice that is conservative. Most goal is to protect their children from hurt and harm. However, what if you're not allowed to protect your child? Here is an example with Chris's story of not being allowed to protect your child, having to watch your daughter go through certain things that she shouldn't have to go through because she has a father. Every single American should be absolutely outraged at what is happening in this situation. And what's happening to him could happen to anyone, no matter what your beliefs are or where you are on the spectrum of opinions. The fact that you can be targeted and someone can just make up false allegations against you and drag you into court endlessly, take all you have, ruin your reputation, and do it all in the name of welfare for the family. Parents, we need to look into overturning this unconstitutional statutory scheme, the child welfare scheme that allows parents to be railroaded in court, families to be separated, and children to be harmed. Let's stand up and protect our children. And it first starts with coming together to get behind one person. And I can't think of anyone more worthy than Chris, a father, a wonderful, outstanding father, a patriot, and a man with Christian values. So, a God-fearing man. So, let's stand with him, and as we are our neighbor's keeper. And let's protect all of our children.
I've been in jail now for 87 days. We're waiting to go to trial. We were scheduled for trial in February. My lawyer, Christopher Burns, has proved that the DA is committing perjury and he has committed felonies doctoring evidence. The judge is basically okay with it. Everything's going to be moving on as scheduled. I have a bail hearing tomorrow, so hopefully I get out. We're just sitting here waiting, playing the waiting game. Like we said, DCF had me arrested 3 days before the DCF trial for a dangerousness. It gave Stephen Gagne 6 months time to create a case against me. And he's just been creating situations and trying to create a narrative since then. Here we are 3 years later, and we're almost at the end. We've got just under 2 months to go till trial, and I've got a bail review tomorrow, so hopefully I come home.